everybody. How many times has AFA made front page news? How many times have other folks in the activism community made front page news? Here is no different, and it's no different because of Sandy Pooler. Sandy Pooler is the bravest American known to man. He stormed the beaches of Normandy. He resurrected Jesus, and he created Cabbage Patch Kids. No, he didn't do any of that. What he did do is, after he was butthurt, he ran to the front page of the Boston Globe and said, "Please help me, I'm butthurt." That was the second thing he did. What's the first thing Sandy Pooler did after he got butthurt in the comments? Tell me in the comments. And while you're telling me in the comments, let me bring up my co-hostess with the mostess.
That would be co-host. Hostess would be the female version. But yes, Josh, it is a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here with everyone.
And also contributing to us today, we have Mike, who's great, by the way. And Mike runs a wonderful, wonderful channel. It's MIK595959. We're going to feature one of his clips coming soon. Mike, you're muted. You're muted, Mike. Might have an issue with your mic since you connected your headset. But guys, we don't have you yet, Mike. Just keep talking when I hear your voice. Well, you might have to drop down since you just logged on your headset and just come right back up. I'll keep an eye in the basement. It's very, very important, today's video. I'm looking in the comment section and I don't see anyone having it right. No one's got it right. So before he went to the front page of the news and became super butthurt and like the most liberal newscast I've ever seen, he spent your money. Okay. And now Sandy already gets paid $230,000 a year to work 4 days a week and look like America's asshole. But today, Sandy Pooler is our feature presentation. So guys, put a 1 in the chat if you haven't seen the video with Sandy Pooler in Arlington Town Hall. Put a 2 if you did, because we're going to blow the roof off this thing for you. So put a 1 if you've seen Sandy's video, 2 if you have not. St. Jude and Smo.
Joey Surreal. Hello there, Heather.
So a lot of people have seen it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a quick intro for Sandy's video. I'm going to show you what an ass hat he made, and then we're going to go into what he did, the newspaper article, and the friggin' crazy amount of money that he spent having 2 lawyers come in and not explain and educate people how the First Amendment works, but explain and educate them how to ignore, basically, the public. So let's do a quick intro. If you guys don't know, about Sandy, this is his video. So we're going to play his video, let you guys jump in. Let me do a quick sound check with Mike first.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yep. Perfect.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I was getting feedback for some reason. I had to put my headphones in.
Excellent. So let's run this video. We're going to run the intro, and we're going to show you guys just what Sandy did before he made an ass of himself twice over afterwards. No, of course not. No, we came in and guess what? We didn't say anything to anyone. She started talking to us. She started taking our picture. We came in here minding our own business, which is the same thing you should be doing. Go back to work, Dana.
Even told you to have a great day.
Town manager.
Why do you come with me?
No, I don't need to come with you, bro. Why don't you come with me?
I'm staying here, though.
Why don't you come with me, man? No, we're good. Thank you, though. Thank you, though. No, you come here. No, come here. No, you come here. No, you come here. This is like, how do you think we got in? Someone let us in. So you come here. You come here. You.
Here we go, guys.
I can enjoy this better. You.
Why not? I'll talk to you.
Here. You.
I did not.
You.
This is my office.
Here we go, guys.
Well, it's our office. It's the people's office. It's a public building. Okay. And how did we get in the locked door?
Somebody mistakenly let you in.
Really? I don't think they mistakenly let me in. They definitely let us in on purpose. Just come over here.
Come on.
Come here.
That's it.
Come on.
Oh, come on, man. Just
Come
let
on.
go of that.
It'd be silly. Like I pay for my house, right?
Yeah.
For someone to tell me I can't go into my own house, I'd be like, well, I pay for it, right? That wouldn't make much sense. This is the people's house. If the people aren't allowed in areas that they pay for, then you should put up some signs, man, and just say, hey, listen, we want to restrict the public from the areas that they paid for.
Goddamn.
Or
That's
we're
what-
holding secret society meetings and we're sacrificing a lamb today. Please stay beyond the barricaded wall.
Any other feedback?
Emu.
No, I just want to. But even though I wasn't a fan of you at first, I don't want you to lose anything. You dropped your pocket, Sandy.
Man.
Sandy looked for his pocket.
You did.
You're running the town. Yeah. How much you get paid, Sandy? I get FOIA requested. I'd just rather not have to go through all that. I just want to know what you have to tell me. What does the town manager's position in Arlington usually pay?
$225.
$250,000 almost. And you didn't realize that you couldn't drop your own pocket.
I didn't know what you were talking about. So I looked down.
So you're gonna run the city, but you couldn't mentally break down that I just told you, a grown man making $250,000 a year, solving the city's problems, that you weren't physically able to drop your own pocket.
Making $250,000.
There you go.
What's going on? So that's Sandy. Let's see. I think Mike got some feedback. Can you hear us now, Mike?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm not sure. I have nothing.
Do you have the YouTube video open up in the background?
No, I have no audio on in the other.
Sound good
Let
now.
me see.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
guys-
there we go. All right.
So let's break right into this, guys. So he got butthurt. He makes $230,000 a year, and his big thing in this article was, I don't understand how me dropping my pocket could even be relevant. You run the city's problems. The homeless population is ever increasing, and at $250,000 a year, you don't know as a grown adult that wastes all our money that you can't drop a fucking pocket. Get it together. That's a huge fucking problem. This guy is a level 1 fuck knuckle, guys. Level 1 is as bad as it gets. He's that much of a fuck knuckle. So I want to break right in to this story now. Leroy Truth and I get an email, as is our way, because we're always contacted by email. And we are told by this reporter that he needs to speak to us. And this article is going to be right down the middle. This is the Boston Globe, for Christ's sakes. And I've been actually on the Boston Globe's front page before. So I got feedback from you, Mike.
I don't know where it's coming.
You could have another window open, Mike, with the
Yeah.
with this
Everything else
streamer.
open. It's all.
Just so Mike, I'm gonna drop you down. Just what you need to do is make sure every link is closed aside from the Gmail link that I sent you. All right, sorry about that, guys. Whoops, that was the wrong button. All right, so let's read this thing. So we call him and we say we can't wait to get your take on freedom and an unbiased view. Now it's called YouTubers Film and Self-Public Workers in Towns Across Mass for Self-Declared First Amendment Audits. Now look at Sandy's face. Sandy looks like a victim rising from the ashes. There's a black facade behind him. His face is lit up. He's got that same dumb fucking look across his mouth that says, I'm the world's biggest asshole. Come follow me on Twitter or Instagram. He looks like an entire moron. So this is Sandy Pooler. He is the $250,000 wasted in Arlington. So let's get right into this article. Then we're going to go into the money that he wasted having 2 lawyers tell people how to ignore their job and to best not be liable. That's right, guys. It wasn't about respecting the fucking public and doing their fucking job. It was about how to violate our rights as nicely as possible and then not be held liable or share in any liability, which I think is a real shout out to how awesome they're doing in Arlington, Massachusetts. They're doing really.
By the way, Josh, but where else was this front page news in the world? Where was this article front page?
This is the #1 streaming article in Norway. Actually, the guy didn't have the balls to tell me that he published it on the front page because he's a fucking pussy. He didn't have the balls. So I have someone tell me, hey, listen, you made the front page of both internet and physical paper and magazine for Norway's biggest paper. And I go, and the guy actually translated the whole article for me, and it was referring to this Boston Globe article. So we made front page of like the biggest paper in fucking Norway, shout out. Because I think I was just attacked by a Norwegian recently.
I love the Norwegians. Both of us have many fans from Norway, so shout out to them.
Now, what it says under the picture is Arlington Town Manager Sandy Pooler was a recent target of a YouTuber filming in the town hall claiming to be a First Amendment advocate. There I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. The scuffle in Lexington's public library last month was short, but seen by thousands. A patron grappled with another man as they wrestled over a camera tripod, and the confrontation was live streamed on YouTube. Now, guys, the gentleman that wrote this is John Hillard, complete liberal fuck. Anyways, two men, Joshua Abrams and Leroy Truth, had set up the camera inside the library to conduct a so-called First Amendment audit, a kind of performative protest that tests their free speech rights by confronting government employees in public places, often provoking objections that generate viewership. Now, this moron can't just say, sometimes people freak out on camera. He could just say that, but the guy's a fucking fuck knuckle. Also, guys, pinned to the top of the chat are my pay apps. If you guys want to and feel so inclined, please feel free to send donations like these live streams. As Leroy will tell you, whether it's done by himself or me, the live streams are never monetized. So anything you can do, even super chats will be read at the end. We really appreciate it. Now, he's referring to the incident that happened in Lexington with Leroy. Two men, Joshua Abrams and Leroy Truth, had set up a camera inside the library to conduct a so-called First Amendment audit. Oh, we already did that part. It sure enough worked in Lexington, though in this case, it was a private citizen, the library patron, who reacted. Abrams and Leroy Truth egged on the man until the patron got so angry that he wrestled the tripod from Leroy Truth's hands.
Pause there a minute. And Josh, there are so many times, and everyone, there are so many times, again, Josh and I were there. Many of you have seen the video. He didn't wrestle, he attacked me. And that has been completely put out of all of this. Plus, when I talk with the liberal fearmonger, completely biased, make-believe reporter, John Hilliard, I said that, he said, well, why would he do that? I said, listen, the camera doesn't make someone do anything. Like, why did you make him attack you? The camera doesn't make anyone do anything. It's simply a mirror that shows who they are. That's all it was. And there's so much misrepresentation that he could have just seen in the video, but he chose.
He couldn't have just said that. Yeah, so he won't even say that Leroy is attacked. What he says is he immediately goes past the guy attacked him because he didn't want him to be filming. He says there was filming in the library and there was a struggle over the camera. Yeah, he's struggling for his property because he's fucking attacked. So and Leroy brings in a good point. Let's continue reading this. After Leroy egged on the man until the patron got so angry that he wrestled the tripod from Leroy's hands. Let's listen to this wordage. Abrams and Leroy Truth egged on the man until the patron got so angry that he wrestled the tripod from Leroy's hands. So what he's saying is, we are responsible for this guy's actions, and it is our fault that this fucking moron attacked Leroy. Online, commenters watching live weighed in. Love the drama, wrote one. The Lexington incident, which was viewed around 29,000 times since it was posted about 3 weeks ago, was but one of many in Massachusetts and around the country where vocal YouTubers have provoked a reaction among public officials, in turn often attracting tens of thousands of views each. Now, what I want to explain to you guys is something that might be, perplexing to you. But this is like, even this fucking liberal moron that wrote this article is an idiot. What he's saying, and let's read this sentence again, was but one of many in Massachusetts and around the country where vocal YouTubers have provoked a reaction among public officials. So you can try and paint us bad and color me stupid, but now you're saying to bootlick the shit out of these officials and make it passive that they're morons and acting stupid, And your replacement for their stupid is by making them appear more stupid so they can get salaries that equate to $240,000 a year. They have the ability to run towns and ruin people's lives, but they don't have the ability to make their own conscious decisions. Okay, so this guy is saying that they can get $230,000 and we can make them act how we want. I'll tell you fucking one thing. There's fucking homeless people out there, and a lot of them are veterans. If I can make you act a certain way, then you shouldn't be getting $250,000 fucking dollars. So get the fuck out of office. Anyways.
Here's something else, Josh, is they use the same line that domestic abusers use. When a man abuses a woman, how many times does the man say, "You made me do that. I didn't make that guy attack me. Patricia, you didn't make Patricia Pacheco attack you in Ridgefield. I didn't make Rudy Marconi attack me in Ridgefield." And by exercising their First Amendments, that should never be seen as looking to instigate something. And by the way, one last thing with this is they are constantly filming us. We go into every one of those places, including that library in Lexington. We are being filmed without our permission. I didn't attack Josh. Josh, there's a camera taking us. And Josh and I start wailing on each other. No.
So we're going to continue to break this down. Mike's back. Let's do a quick sound check. We'll continue with the article. It's important that he's here because he's been doing a lot of groundwork. Can you hear us, bud?
Yeah, so I had my phone on. The screen was off. I'm like going nuts trying to figure out where the noise was coming from.
Excellent. Okay. So Leroy and I have forced this patron to become violent with our Jedi mind tricks. For municipal workers, the stunts add to the rash of hostile behavior many face these days, these poor fucks. Critics, including those who have had unintentional starring roles, said the actions are a cynical attempt to provoke people to act out in order to attract attention. Listen, if we're you have your cake, but you can't fucking eat it too, even if you're starving. It's either our fault or it's theirs. You're not going to tell me it's my fucking fault and then go on to say something stupid, including those who had unintentional starring roles. It's a cynical attempt. So I don't attempt to make anyone act a certain way. I show my camera and they act stupid or they fucking don't. But if what I'm doing is purposely to attract a reaction out of them, don't call it cynical. Call it fucking successful, because these brain dead fucking morons literally can't mind their P's and Q's. So figure it out. You don't get to have it liberal and have it conventional and then fucking worm your way in the middle. And to put it on the record, I never walk into a place intending to shit on somebody. I have a video that dropped just yesterday that killed my analytics that had a positive interaction with a fucking town office, okay? And no one's going to see that video. No one wants to watch it because it's positive. But I didn't make them act nice. They made themselves act nice. So maybe these morons like Sandy Pooler in the Arlington Town Hall should get the fuck out of our office. Anyways, what this has to do with the First Amendment is not at all clear to me, said Sandy Pooler, Arlington's town manager, who was featured in one of Abrams' videos last month. Now, Sandy, you make $225,000 a fucking year. You better understand what a camera has to do with the fucking First Amendment. Every time you open your mouth, the general public gets fucking stupider. That's a fact, Sandy. Moving on. And I am full of piss, fire, and brimstone today because Sandy Pooler is a fucking tooler. I had another word I was going to throw in there, but it's not appropriate.
It's just baffling.
It really fucking is. I mean, it's not because we're used to it, but the fact
compared to the citizens who come up to you and go, "You have a camera in my face," it's like, well, you came to the camera. They're in a public capacity. They should expect a certain amount of, even if there was no camera, citizens coming to check in on the progress.
You're right on.
And the camera's just an added benefit. It's 2023 for crying out loud.
Right, absolutely. And one of the things that the reporter John Hilliard asked me is like, why do you and Josh put cameras in people's faces? I said very angrily, we have never, ever done that. Ever. And you show me a single video where someone has actually done this with someone.
Guys, I'll tell you one thing.
Liars.
We're at the point right now where public officials have been arrested for touching me more than I've been arrested in activism. That's a cold, hard fact right now, folks. And that's just swinging that big dick shit in their direction. They're morons. So continuing,
Entitled morons.
Yeah, in the video titled "Tyrant Boss Barks Town Orders and Looks Stupid," which is true, Abrams is seen swearing at Pooler while wandering around an office space used by town workers. It's used by we the people, and it's important you guys remember that, because when we get into this fucking Zoom meeting, you're going to see exactly what I mean. They're not just coming in and filming, but they're saying nasty and juvenile things to people to get a rise out of them, Pooler said. Again, you make $230,000 a year. If I act juvenile and that can make you look like America's dumbest asshole, then maybe you need to find a fucking job, because every time you open your mouth, you look stupid. Diego,
he couldn't survive the private sector.
Thank you so much for this. I'm going to read the super chats at the end because I got a lot of time to get through. So we'll read this at the end, and thank you so much. So let's continue reading here. This is a big article. I want to get through it. Abrams is one of the more prolific local creators of such videos, which generally follow the same basic formula. Guys, you can run the same Google search that I did. I wrote, where is the word prolific most often used? It's in reference to serial killers. Fact. I didn't make that up. This is a fact. And this guy knew that. He used the word prolific because it has a negative connotation to it, and he can swing you in his direction. I know what direction you're swinging in. It's probably Sandy Pooler's. Anyway, continuing on. He'll enter a city hall or other public building, usually with another YouTuber, making their own video. They wander around, stop when they encounter public employees, and record them on the job. They'll move along if there's little reaction, but sometimes, get this, we ask questions and film how employees respond. Holy shit. In a video recorded in Lynn, Abrams argued with a worker about a city regulation and told him, shut that mouth. Abrams told the man the public has a right to insult city staff. I'm not going to be insulted, the worker told Abrams in a video. Yes, you will be. You work for us, Abrams replied. Stand by that. In another video recorded at a town hall in Wakefield, he asked workers on camera, who's the stupid visor? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. The shame. The shame. I had people that read the front page of the fucking Globe call me up today, including one of my attorneys, and we had a good fucking laugh about this. In an interview, Abrams said he's trying to educate the public about their freedom of speech rights and remind public officials to respect them. I'm nice to everybody, unless it's an issue where they're questioning my rights, he said. And this is the caption for Sandy. He looks like he never looks fucking natural. Sandy Pooler always looked like his picture was superimposed onto the picture, right?
He looks reminds me of Broadway, like someone on Broadway.
He looks like a mortician apparition on Broadway. YouTuber Josh Abrams filmed himself with Arlington Town Manager Sandy Pooler during Abrams' self-described First Amendment audit of Arlington Town Hall in April. Massachusetts cities and towns are devising response plans. You'll hear about that later. Among the ideas, posting signs that designate employee-only areas and barring film in areas with sensitive materials in plain view, such as social services offices. Every community will not have only thought about this, but probably will over time be subject to a First Amendment audit, said Jeff Beckwith, who leads the Massachusetts Municipal Association. Then they go on to say
on that, with the signs. Do you feel, because I watched that video a bunch of times, do you think that older woman who unlocked that door was subject to some sort of disciplinary action for
Absolutely. So
I watched that. I couldn't.
There was an old lady that said, and this is going to come up in the video later. She says, "Who are you looking for?" And I so innocently, such is my way, said, "I'm looking for the city manager's office. Do you know where it is?" And she so nicely said, "Let me take you there." And she brought me a shortcut door. And as Arlington's attorneys will explain to you, because we have a little birdie that sent us a copy of this not so public Zoom meeting, where even the attorneys explained, if you are a public official in a private space and you invite somebody in, you've made that a public space. So even by their own attorney's argument, he had no right to kick us out, couldn't trespass us. The moment they let us in that public space, they were fucked without being taken to dinner first. Let's get back to this article here. So they go on to talk about the case law and how case law suggests that we're good to go. Abrams, who's a Townsend resident, Brandon Mitchell's a member said I activated the like button. Did you? I hope so. Abrams, who's a Townsend resident, began creating videos about 4 years ago. He said, this is now his full-time job, he said. And his YouTube page has about 121,000 subscribers, 122 to be exact. He derives income from advertisements that appears with the video. Now, guys, in case you didn't know, he really threw me under the bus. One of the first things I did was talk about my criminal record that was years and years before my activism. So we're not going to skip this part. Let's read it. There's a picture of me in handcuffs resisting tyranny after exercising my rights. And look at that. You see that guy on the left there? That's my attorney. One of the best attorneys in America. Anyways, Abrams on probation after pleading guilty in October 2020. 2 counts of unarmed robbery and witness intimidation and 1 count of armed assault to rob in connection with a string of robberies in Lowell 2 years earlier, according to filings of the Middlesex Superior Court. Before the Lowell case concluded, Abrams was charged by police for resisting arrest, my first activism arrest, resisting arrest in connection with the Straight Pride Parade in Boston in 2019. According to a Boston police report, Abrams was among 16 people who were arrested when they were blocking Congress Street near Hanover Street. I was arrested in a sidewalk. Don't know how I blocked a street, but the cops fucking lie because they're scum like Sandy Pooler and the guy that wrote this article. In an interview with WBZ TV before his arraignment, can I click on that? I'm sure I can. It'll bring me right to the interview, wasn't it? I didn't plan on this, but I kind of want to see if it's. Oh, there I am. Hold on a sec. Let me see if this works. Ooh. No, it's going too slow. All right, we'll stay where we're at. Anyways, Abrams said multiple times, I asked why I was arrested. The officer said, for calling me a pig. Well, that's my First Amendment right to do so. That's right, folks. I was arrested for calling a cop a pig. He pled guilty to the misdemeanor charge in 2021. This guy is a lying basket full of shit. As far as disorderly conduct, annoyance, and illegal protesting, those charges were dismissed. What I pled guilty to was the resisting arrest aspect because it took 9 cops to hold me down and I got a little crazy. He said he was at the parade to record interactions of the police and the public. Because of his experience with police, Abrams said he wanted to learn more about his rights and gravitated to those issues at the local level. I really want to start focusing on city halls to see if the center of government in our local areas defended the rights of we the people, he said. In Lexington, town officials said it was legal for Abrams and Leroy Truth to record inside the Carey Memorial Library on the 28th. Abrams and Leroy Truth approached staffers, this is my favorite part, and record each for 30 to 40 seconds at a time. There's little reactions, and the YouTubers move on because he's too much of a fucking coward to use my channel's name. He'll use my name, but not my channel's name. Well, guess what, buddy? More people have seen my videos than have read your stupid fucking articles. And that's a fucking fact, you stupid joke fuck. Abrams and Leroy Truth come across a man seated at a table using a laptop computer. Here, this is great. They tease him. They tease him talking as if the man was starring in a film. When the patron asks who they are, Abrams offers a sarcastic reply, I'm a human being. I take grievance to that. He said, what are you? And I said, I'm a human being because that's what I am. The patron reportedly asked them to stop. I don't want to, Abrams replied. Quickly, the patron and Leroy Truth are wrestling over the camera equipment. That is fucking bold-faced fact.
That I want to stop there. We're wrestling over the equipment. That alludes that I proactively engaged physically with that guy. When, again, he attacked me, and then it escalated, and then I de-escalated it from there.
How shocked were you that a patron of a library was that actively aggressive, like going after you for a camera? I was personally like, you're the problem, but there's a guy that's studying and he's getting physical with a stranger. Like that really just, I don't know. How did you interpret that when it was going on? Like, I mean, I know Josh probably thinks like I think, and I would defend myself a little differently, but how did you feel about that when he got so aggressive with you?
Well, obviously it is wrong, and it was completely out of context to anything, because no matter what's going on, you're filming. All right, you can go away. He can walk away, and he stayed in our general area. He could have walked away. We would not have followed him.
You didn't get any closer.
No, he's the one who got physically aggressive. And so again, I didn't make him do this. Josh didn't make him do this. My magic camera didn't make him do this. He
This
chose
Oh,
is
to
Leroy,
do that.
Leroy, listen. Leroy, this guy went hands-on with Leroy, and then Leroy turned this guy into a fucking pinball and made the library his battle. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. Leroy defended the shit out of himself, and this guy went for a ride. So obviously, and I'll say it, James Freeman told me I shouldn't. I'm very surprised, but that guy didn't know Kung Fu.
I was going to say that.
And I mean that because,
when you went behind the circulation desk, I was like, oh, this is getting crazy. It's like the Royal Rumble. It was like
Right.
WrestleMania.
And for those who didn't see it, I did slam him against the bookshelf, one of the bookcases there.
Allegedly. Going on, Lexington police later said
Allegedly, that's right.
Lexington police later said in a report that the patron, an Acton resident, did not know he could be recorded in the building. No charges were filed, and the patron apologized to Leroy and Abrams. What he failed to mention is he was going to be charged, but Leroy offered an apology. Again, this is a liberal fuck nugget. It is not to instigate or agitate, said Leroy Truth of the library video. I didn't make the guy go hands on me. I believe Leroy said go hands on with me, but this guy's getting paid to write for the Globe and he doesn't understand basic fucking grammar.
No.
That makes sense. An official of Massachusetts, guys, this part blows my mind, okay? If you are this official, just send me a fucking email. I smiled when I read this. I don't understand what this even means. An official in Massachusetts whose community was featured in one of Abrams' videos said the worst part came after the video was posted, and staffers received emails and phone calls from Abrams' army of internet trolls. We had to send an employee home the day after the incident because the employee broke down under the nonstop phone calls, said the official, who asked that he and his community not be identified due to the video's impact on staff. Now, guys, let's look at this. They want to try and out every aspect of Leroy and my life, okay? Minutia, fine-tooth fucking comb. They want to go over every aspect. But he won't even identify an entire municipality. The guy that wrote this article is so fucking stupid. And Leroy can attest to this. One of the things he said in the email was, also, I know that you don't have a license. You're driving in a lot of your videos. Why are you driving without a license? And I said, you fucking moron. When you hold the camera in selfie mode, it reverses the image. You can even see the reflection in my sunglasses of me holding a camera and not a steering wheel. But this guy is so fucking 69 shades to stupid that he didn't know the fucking difference.
That's only an Android world, though. So just
they go on to be very upset with our behavior. And you can go on to continue getting dumber by reading this. But that is the mainstream media just doing an absolute fucking bang up job. Now, that's the least of what's been happening. So Mike has been doing a great job locally. I have a little birdie, as I do. They fly like this, guys. Watch them, and that's to Sandy Pooler. Smell it, save it for flavor. It's a flavor saver. That leaked to me, if you will, a video that should not have been leaked to me, and I got a hold of it. And I am not going to show you guys the video because, listen, guys, let's be honest. I shouldn't show this video. It's something I should hold in confidence. And oops, that's the video.
Oops.
Sorry. That was the wrong screen. So Mike has a channel. He's been doing some really good work. I want to show you some of his stuff. I know the moderators have been posting his link in the chat. Let me show you a quick one real quick because he's local in Arlington. He's been doing a lot of work on a ground level. And been sending me certain information, just background stuff of what's been going on. And he's been going through it himself. So here's a quick little clip. We're going to show this before we get into the Zoom video. Let's take a look.
Okay, can I give you a background real quick on what happened here?
Sure.
I live in a building literally next to town hall. I smoke cigarettes, unfortunately. We're not allowed to smoke in the building. So as part of my routine, I walk up to Mass Ave. They just redid the Century Bank. And it's a bank that's an old school bank where, as you're aware, you're from Stoneham, so Arlington's kind of an affluent town. So like older people with decent money, bank there. They renovated the building and they didn't put blinds, or they didn't choose to use blinds, and they had their computer screens within 2 feet of the window. And I said, I can see every single person's social security. Like, if I wanted to be nefarious, I could. So I just said, let me just, take some video. I'm walking by. And that's what caused this whole interaction. I mean, I knew they were going to call the police, but you'll see what they said in the video. But just so you know, like, that, I wasn't even looking for, like, this wasn't an audit or anything like this. I just happened to notice something I felt was wrong, and I knew if I told the people at the bank, hey, you shouldn't be having people's stuff on display, they would tell me to shut up.
Let's take a look at this and see what happens. This is a pretty good one.
I'm one of your biggest fans on TikTok.
Yeah, no, but there's nothing I could get caught up in.
Well, I've seen you post pictures of the photos that you've taken, and I don't want you to post that stuff because I don't want you to get jammed
You
up.
cannot trespass what the eyes can see. If your eyes can see it,
But you're taking pictures of confidential information.
that's
You're
their
posting it on-
confidential information
I
that they
know,
have to
I know,
protect.
but
I don't have to
post it on
protect it.
social media.
I can post it anywhere. I'm conducting a news story of them not protecting their customers.
You are a wonderful investigative journalist.
Thank you.
I follow you. I think you're great. I think all of your content's wonderful.
Well, it's not. It's all a bunch of shit. It's whoever watches what, to be honest with you. And apparently, no autographs. No autographs. Please, 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 please.
So, guys, now notice how the cop said, I don't want to see you get jammed up. And this is just subjugation. I'm not saying this for a fact. In fact, my lawyers would tell you that this is not a representation of fact. This is solely saying it could be possible, but is in all likelihood not probable. That the only thing jammed was that fucking cop. Because his
threatened me with
eyes...
trespassing and loitering, and I'm like, I suggest you handcuff me then if that's what you believe. Because he's like, don't tell me about the law, buddy. I said, you're wrong. You don't understand it.
Were fucking pinned, allegedly. And I'm not saying this is a fact. I'm just saying that he was so fucking high. And now Leroy says, how high was he?
How high was he, Josh?
Try that again. He was so high.
How high was he, Josh?
He wasn't fucking high. You need to do some research. We can't just say he was high without having any proof. We're just saying, maybe, possibly he was high. He wasn't high. I'm just kidding. That was crazy. Anyways.
He's just used to believing that he can tell you what to do, and you're going to say, yes, massa.
He must be high to act like that. But anyways, guys, so let's get into this video. This video is fucking great because after a First Amendment audit, before Sandy got butthurt and ran to the Boston fucking Globe, he set up this waste of fucking time. And how much?
And these are attorneys.
How much money was wasted on this? Boggles my fucking mind. This is an hour long. We have to go through every bit of it because it's all fucking great. Leroy, if you have to go because you have more important things to do than hang out with me because you have a boat and fancy women, you can leave at any time.
I'll let you know. I'm here right now.
That's all that fucking matters. Let's watch.
Oh, what did they take it down? Oh, I thought they took it down. I got nervous.
You got to download it.
While we're waiting, Leroy,
Sorry for
get
the
my
delay,
email.
everybody.
Oh,
We should
sorry.
get started in a second. Just waiting for Doug to log on. Just in general, I will say that thank you all for being here. I know this is an important issue to many who faced this last week in town hall. This is designed to be more of a practical approach to how to deal with these issues rather than a constitutional law class with citations to case law. But if anybody wants to get into that discussion, I'm happy to, or I'm sure Doug would as well, happy to talk to you.
And guys, real quick, while we're watching this, look at the dumb fucks. There's Anna, she, her. There's Joan, she, her. There's some them, theys. I want you to look at some of the fucking stupid questions that are posed. Now, these are things they should know the answers to before the fucking audit happens. Like, what happens if they film you in your office and film private information, i.e. tax bill, and put that on social media? Joanne Sliney, you guys really need to like put like anonymous. Scalzo, the low quality author John Hillard tried to say making money from ads is a problem, but most media outlets make money from ads, including John Hillard's article from the Boston Globe. Yeah, so that Scalzo, thank you. So one of his big problems, this John Hillard guy was saying that I make money from ads. I do what I do, and I make money from ads, and I'm a shitbag for doing that. Let's count how many ads in this one article. There's one to the right. There's one up top for college. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 makes AAA. 11, 12, 13 for Alexa, 14 for Freevee, 15, 16 advertisement, 17.
Meanwhile, they're giving papers away. They can't get people to subscribe to it anymore.
Well, there's 17 ads in that one story. My entire fucking video of Sandy Pooler has 4 ads. So you tell me who's the scum sucking fuck knuckle. And by the way, when I say scum fucking fuck knuckle, I mean that in the PG version, which of course is okay for kids, if you're watching.
About that, but I thought that people could use some practical advice about how to handle situations if this should come up again, and how we can best prepare ourselves for it.
He talks about like it's a school shooting, and I know that's not appropriate to say, but that's how he's acting.
The screen, and we can get the slideshow started.
God, this is boring too. They can present better with more energy, at least, for God's sake.
No, it's really fun when you listen to how fucking stupid they are. It actually is a great listen. Just because you're laughing at them the whole time, but it's fucking awesome.
And folks, again, as Mike sort of already stated, I think the primary goal for us is to, really allow folks to get some more practical advice and understand the parameters of what our obligations are versus what is just sort of good practice in certain situations. So, Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you to have initial comments as we run through the slideshow. Let me know if you want me to pause or, focus on a specific slide or move on. Okay.
Thanks, Doug. Yes. So our first slide, I thought I'd just put this out there. This is the text of the First Amendment. I know
This is great.
auditors, they come in, they talk about the First Amendment. I'm sure this is something that everybody here has read, but figured to just put the text out there. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. As you probably already know as well, I'm sorry if this is basic stuff, but this is the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. It was adopted as in the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. So this is a critical piece in individual rights in our country's history. And sometimes you get people who talk about the First Amendment, auditors and others who may not be as familiar with the text of it and what it means. But I think it's important for all of us to just maybe refresh our recollection about what the text actually says and what it might mean in the context of an audit or somebody coming into town hall with a cell phone pointed at your face. So I can move on, Doug, unless you have something to mention. I just want to put that.
Your job.
Yeah, if I can just add something, I think what's really important to understand about the First Amendment, I think we all sort of know this in the sort of the background of our heads, but what's important to understand is that a lot of rights, ranging from the the right to assemble on the town square and articulate a political position, to the rights that people have whenever we create a limited public forum to be able to express critical views of the government, to a woman's right to choose, to what we're talking about today, all stem from the First Amendment. And different judicial philosophies and political philosophies articulate and draw different things out of this, oftentimes wanting to exclude other things out of this that other courts and other folks believe is enshrined in the First Amendment. But while the text of this looks relatively limited in scope in many ways, the reality of it is that so much of our conception of privacy, ability to interact with the government on our own terms in many ways stems from this.
Important just to kind of set the foundation. This is the language from 1791 on which everything that comes after it is based. And as Doug talked about, there is a body of case law since that time that has interpreted what these words mean, what rights people actually have in accordance with those words. And so that the actions taken by somebody like an auditor really are part of the case, the body of case law that has developed since 1791. But this document itself is important to recall as the foundation of all those cases moving forward. So just in terms of where we're going today, this is not a long presentation. Again, it's intended to be a practical exercise to help people deal with this very specific situation in the context of the First Amendment. So what is a First Amendment audit, and is it legally permissible, is something that we'd like to go over. Second, Doug, how do we prepare for First Amendment audit? Are there steps that we can take to try and make sure that we're in the best position to handle something like that as best we can? I understand, these things happen.
Do your job normally.
Somebody comes in off the street, they have a camera.
And guys, so the brilliance of this is that they're not teaching you how to better respect the First Amendment. They're teaching you how to fuck our rights up and do it with as little liability to them or the city as possible. Secondly, this is so fucking stupid. I really can't help but have my eyes glued to this because they're just so dumb. This is the Arlington Town Hall in Arlington, Mass. And the stupidity is going to unfold in a way that's going to make you happy in your pants.
And by the way,
they worked on this. This isn't thrown together. Like, you can.
Well, how much money do you think they spent? Because that's what I want to put up to the people, guys. So to have two attorneys and a town-wide employee meeting accessible to any city or municipal employee, to fucking sit and do this for an hour and 7 minutes. Sandy Pooler's wasting 230 fucking grand, right? How much do you fucking think this costs? Because I'll tell you one thing. The 24 employees that attended this seminar, they were getting paid time and a half for being there while they weren't at fucking work. So because we already wasted 230 grand on fucking Sandy because he's a fucking moron. Now, because Sandy's an asshole, we have to waste a subscription to the Boston Globe and another couple fucking tens of thousands up to almost $100,000 worth of here's a fucking attorney on a fucking Saturday.
And here's all that would have to be done, because literally this is an anti-freedom training. And I do find it very interesting, though pathetic, as we're watching this, but it's anti-freedom. Because all they would have to say is, listen, when a member of the general public comes into our fill in the blank, our town hall, our this, we the people's town hall, actually, we the people's police station, here's what you do. Hello, can I help you? Whether I'm like this or I'm like this. No, thank you.
Wait, you mean do their job, Leroy?
Yeah, and that's all.
Oh.
I could have, all of us here, the three of us could have trained these town employees in 60 seconds. Someone comes in, how can I help you? Welcome.
Well, they're going to tell them how to do their job, Leroy. But they're going to tell them how to do their job in the best way possible to not get sued. That's what it comes down to. Every action is based on the reaction of "Don't get us fucking sued."
Right. And hello, welcome.
Pointed at
Never
you.
gonna
You've got a
demonstrate.
lot of things.
I'm sorry, Leroy. Go ahead.
I was saying, and welcome to our town. And can I help you? Never got a single person sued. And that's the long and short of it. No, thank you. Okay. If you need anything, let me know. That's it.
Well,
But let's hear what they say.
I just cost.
But
the
how do
boss
they make
some money.
how do they make the correlation to a woman's right to choose to the First Amendment? I mean, I feel stupid for not understanding how that's related.
Well, so
I mean,
this is a conversation for another day. But what I
all right. Well, I just
say is
that's the
because
first thing they brought up, and I'm like,
I had my
this seems
attorney
odd.
go through this. So a woman's right to choose is not a First Amendment issue.
That's what
but
I
it
figured.
is.
I just thought
It's a legal right. Of course it is. You know,
Right.
you should be able to do what you want,
Right.
but it's not the First Amendment.
No.
So let's
It
continue.
seems more like a talking point for them to just use to get attention, but that's what I was wondering.
Things
All right.
going on in your office. You know, you're busy during the course of the day, so it's hard for people to adjust and react on the fly. But to the extent that we can prepare ourselves for that day, should it come, I think Doug and I have a few suggestions on things we could do. How to handle it. So that's more about a discussion about when you're in the course of the audit. You know, you're in the moment. How can you best deal with that? What is the best approach? What should you do? So there are a few discussion points on that we'd like to go over today. And then finally, I'd like to go over, what do we do in the aftermath? It is typical. I've watched a few of their videos that are out there. It is very typical that they want to create a situation that leads to a public records request. Sometimes they make it the day of, sometimes they make it in days that follow. They often refer to it as a Freedom of Information Act request, which is not technically accurate here in Massachusetts. We're subject to the public records law because we in Arlington are creating municipal records, and so that we're bound by, and Doug will talk about that more at length at the end, but that we're bound by the public records law here in Massachusetts. And then we'll open up the floor to questions, anything you might have. But again, this is not intended to be an exhaustive discussion of the development of case law on the First Amendment. But to the extent that people want to have such a discussion, Doug and I are always happy to do that. But if you have specific questions, we'll try and deal with those at the end as well. So the first topic, what is a First Amendment audit? And I stole that screen.
Now, guys, this is how stupid. I really need to remind you, the town of Arlington only employs stupid fucking people. That's not my thumbnail. It's not my thumbnail. It's a place I've never audited. So to show their employees what a piece of shit I am, they found, now guys, I have like 1,100 fucking videos they could have chosen from. The exhaustive efforts by these stupid fucking attorneys, they were able to find a thumbnail that was not mine. By the looks of it, it might be Press New Hampshire, but it is certainly not mine. But anyways, let's continue. They probably have something smart to say.
Screenshot from one of their recent audits that was done in Clinton. I think it gets some text that appears there, Doug. I tried to do your. I'm not as good at slideshows as Doug.
Oh, I just got to make sure that I'm clicking on the. Yep.
Doug is a slideshow expert.
Okay.
First, a First Amendment audit is not an official audit. As we saw last week, to the extent that people saw that last week, it's really these people are YouTubers. They usually don't identify themselves. They come in, try to catch you by surprise. But just like any other person, though, it really comes into your office and could ask for service. You don't necessarily know what the day is going to bring. But these are not official auditors affiliated with any government agency or somebody that's a private company that perhaps has some jurisdiction over the town's finances or books that would be involved in an official audit. This is not that type of situation. That they call themselves auditors, but it's really not an audit.
What is an audit?
Typically don't.
They don't let us know in advance.
But
So
this is a comedy show. This seems like some type of really poor Netflix special on stupidity.
Well, 24 people had seen this fucking stupid collective meeting before I aired it. 40 million people have seen what I have said. So my conjecture is if I say it's a fucking audit, it's a fucking audit. I mean, not for nothing. They have an auditor's office in the fucking town hall, and more people come to this auditor than that fucking auditor. So my conjecture would be it absolutely is a fucking audit.
Well, wait till you hear the reaction after the video. I'll let you know how the people
Guys,
take it.
this attorney gets so mad that I told Sandy he dropped his pocket. The 35-minute mark is where life becomes reality. In fact, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm such a piece of shit that I'm going to fucking do this. I'm going to take the link to this Zoom meeting and drop it in the chat so you guys can just like listen
like
to it
during the Matrix.
when you go to sleep. I want you, there is one Zoom meeting to rule them all. So hold on a second, because you deserve it.
But I warn you, it will turn into idiocracy if you have the type of dreams that let it sink in your brain. You will be stupider when you wake up.
That's a good way to put it too, Mike. It's like the movie Idiocracy, and if you haven't seen it, everyone, watch it. It was not supposed to be a documentary; it was supposed to be a spoof.
Well, I know, but it's obviously about Biden.
This is real.
It doesn't fit.
This is real now. And again, we can train their 24 employees, actually our 24 employees, this fast. Anyone comes into the town hall. Welcome to so-and-so town hall. My name is so-and-so. How can I help you?
Here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to put it on my, the text is too long for me to put it on my, to put it in the comment section. So what I'm doing right this fucking second is I am putting it on my community page under this video's push. So right now you can go to, it should be there. Yes. So if you go to this thing, it looks like that. You know, Sandy ran to the front page and wasted your money because you got butthurt from an audit, and you open it up, Town Arlington MA-US Zoom. That's it. So go there and lose fucking, you can smoke weed or you can watch Sandy open his fucking mouth. You will get stupid either way. Only weed's fun, you know, and it actually has benefits. Sandy Pooler, I made up a rhyme with your name that I can't say. I'm going to say it though. Excuse me one moment while I say it. Did you hear that, Leroy?
I did. It was quite colorful.
What did I say?
I'm not going to say it because it comes from your lips to the voice of, to the ears of God.
From my lips to Sandy's ears, let us continue.
I'm embarrassed.
Identify themselves as auditors. They may just walk in and wait for you to react. They're not wearing any sort of uniform. They're not wearing any.
At what point did you
indications on
identify?
their clothing that say that, you know, I'm an auditor. I haven't seen any of that in any of the videos.
Where
that
was
I've seen.
Leroy's badge?
So
Oh my God.
Leroy, dude, can we please make some shirts that say I am an auditor?
Right. I'm an official auditor. It'll have a Leroy Truth Investigations badge on it, so we can identify ourselves clearly.
But they'll still say, I don't understand what you're saying. What are you doing? That's what they'll still say.
Well,
Right.
that's
Doesn't
the
even
thing,
matter.
Mike. There's no questions. As soon as you walk in and your T-shirt says I am an auditor, it suspends reality. Like this woman's like, oh my God, he's got a camera. He isn't. Oh, guys, he's an auditor. 1025 to control.
Which they did. Remember, for those of you who have seen it, there was a guy, Josh
Yeah,
talked
where
with
was
first.
that one?
Josh and I were out, and there was this guy, like the British are coming, he was the auditors are coming, and he was running ahead of us to warn all the other employees
He
so they would be
seemed
on
so
their best
cool.
behavior.
He seemed
And
like
he
a
was
legit
the one that
dude.
wound up looking stupid.
Right. Yep.
He seemed so legit. He seemed like a fan. And then when he did that, I was like, what a dick.
Yeah.
Guys, I would like to take this moment to do something important. And I'm sorry that I'm going to have to do this because this was going to be a toy for me. This is a Bell and Howell, okay, 1959 director series,
Whoa.
not private camera, but actual film reel. And you'd say to yourself, well, this thing doesn't work. You'd be wrong. It actually still works. It's in perfect.
It's an 8mm.
No, I believe it's 12. It's the dual electric eye. I mean, this thing was top of the chart. So here's what I'm going to do.
That needs to be used on an audit. Someone has to use that on an audit.
I'm not gonna have time. I found it at a fucking yard sale. I'm not gonna have time to use it at a fucking audit. And I don't want to because I'm afraid I'll break it. But anyways, for the next, it's 6:30. So until 7 o'clock, the biggest super chat in the half-hour time frame, either super chat or donation to one of the cash links. Karen Oak says 16 millimeters. Whether the biggest donation, either the cash links up top or super chat, the largest donation will get that sent to them along with an AFA t-shirt. So an in working order actual camera that is not used for home photography. It was used for movies with the case. Also included is this cool fucking Bell and Howell booklet.
That manual's worth money.
I mean, hey, you know, we try and help out the people. Back to Sandy being an asshole.
Nice segue.
So you may not necessarily know that they're an auditor, other than that they have a camera and they're pointing it at you and they're filming. That they want you to react to that.
Dave Chappelle wrote
Pause
this.
for a second.
Of
One
course.
of the things that I mean, these are relatively new developments. One of the things that has obviously changed the game for this stuff is you know, the development of, you know, effective iPhones that can easily record, edit, all that kind of stuff. And in many ways, part of what's at work here is because it's not a camera crew or something like that, folks can just kind of come in and they can act in a aggressive or even rude manner and record you in a way that kind of gets you a little bit back on your heels. In some ways, most of us would have an instinct if we saw like a news crew to be like, I've got to be really thoughtful about how I'm going to respond to, you know, somebody, or I'm going to go, you know, notify somebody that there's, you know, journalist, somebody here that wants to talk to somebody about this. But because they look no different than anybody else, they're sort of trying to get you in a posture where you're going to respond to just how odd it is to be having a conversation with somebody who just whips out a phone and starts recording you.
Same as an undercover cop. If you don't know they're a cop, it's okay to kill someone.
And in many ways, that's what they are. But the technology at work really allows somebody to kind of, as Mike has sort of said, catch you off guard and wants to sort of put you in a position of simultaneously not having your guard up because they look like, you know, somebody who might have just come in off the street who's a resident. But the reality is that they're, you know, here with a very specific objective. Mike, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, thanks, Doug. And I think that, you know, one of the things that I've seen in the videos is that, and understandably, people, when they're confronted, are perplexed, a little bit confused. And if you're not familiar with who these people are and what they're trying to do, that's a very understandable reaction. So hopefully this type of training and just awareness of what these people are doing, that they're out there, and there are different groups out there that are doing this. It's not just the ones that we saw last Monday. There are auditors throughout the country that I've seen, the different groups. And unfortunately, I think because it's a competitive marketplace, they're out there to get maximum number of views, which drives donations and
competitive marketplace
and ad dollars. The conduct could escalate in terms of its outrageousness and its attempt to try and provoke this. So that's next. You know, the auditors use more.
So again, this is the great part of this, is that they're saying like the more outrageous the video, the more, you know, money that we get. So again, it's our fault that they act outrageous. At the end of the fucking day, they're responsible for their own behavior. They can't even take responsibility for that.
Imagine you went to college for law, Josh, right? And you watched a few of your videos. Wouldn't you realize these guys come in, if there's no interaction, they freaking leave. These guys are spending money on the sky is falling, and these are evil doers, and they're coming in to make us look like fools. They could just say, hey, be normal, do your job, and they'll just go away.
Listen, if I went to college for law, and then I saw one of Leroy in my videos, I would ask for the money back from the college where I went to school.
Well, obviously, because lawyers are, but that's a different story.
Well, here's another thing too. I resent the fact that they say that we whip our phones out. I have never whipped my phone out before I went into a town hall.
No, you need to. Leroy, listen, bro, next time we go to an audit, you have to make a big thing. Like, I'll be standing there
I'm going to do
fucking
that.
static. And as soon as someone comes out, you just need to go.
You need a device made that comes out of your sleeve, like in the movies. You ching, and it comes out like a gun.
Like a Batman device.
When it's
Yeah,
referred to about whipping out something in public, it's never a good thing. But leave it to Sandy Pooler to make that a talking point.
Yep. There you go, Sandy.
Mobile phones to record interactions with public officials and employees, and then post their recordings to the internet. So that's the whole game here. They're on. Whether they're really truly crusaders for First Amendment rights, not for me to say. I do know that they're really trying to get as many views on the internet as they can. Typically, these videos are posted to YouTube. I've seen a bunch there.
Seen a few more now there.
Get as many people to comment and subscribe and like as they can. The goal, and
by the way, guys, comment,
it appears
like, and
to
subscribe
us to be the goal, is to provoke employees into unlawfully detaining or otherwise violating their First Amendment rights, or just simply trying to get you to react in a way that may drive increased internet views. So I think
the goal is to just do your business without getting hassled.
Took an action that runs counter to their First Amendment rights. I think that would be very good for the number of views that they'd receive. But anything at all that's out of the ordinary, if you.
So I really need to talk about this. So what he's saying is the goal of the auditors appears to be to provoke employees into unlawfully detaining or otherwise violating the First Amendment rights, or just to get an employee to react in a way that would increase internet views. In summation, our only goal is to go out there and to get people to violate our rights. I'm a fucking civil rights activist in 2023. And if you go back to 1953, there's not one fucking civil rights activist that wants their rights to get violated, because that ends up in a fucking body bag. The problem is there's cameras everywhere, and that's why they'll take us to jail. But us going to jail in 2023 is us getting lynched up in 1950. These guys are absolutely out of control. And I'm going to tell you one thing, guys. And I'm going to do it now because I'm upset and I'm aggravated and I feel provoked by Doug Heim. I'm going to say it. I'm just going to throw it out there. I've been provoked. This is the Robbins Memorial Town Hall in Arlington, Massachusetts. I think the reviews are shut down because there were a lot of bad reviews when I put my video up. So I'm going to write a review, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to see it. I'm going to say Sandy is a turd Ferguson. Okay? That's going to be my review. And please, guys, don't redress your grievances. We have no rights. Don't you also leave a review.
Well, redressing your grievances, Arlington does play a game with limited what do you call it? Limited public forum. And they try to say the library and the library is limited public forum.
Right.
Well, they're wrong, and Leroy will go down to that library and show them a thing or two. Guys, right now there's 4.4. It was down to, like, real low, but they like to delete public comments because Sandy's a fucking piece of shit. But let's go back to the video, and we'll check back in later on where the ratings are at. Let me get this video up here. We got to breeze through this because this is over an hour long. There's like 40 minutes left to go.
If you behave in a manner that might drive views or be considered embarrassing is helpful to get. That's really what they're trying to do. And I think sometimes Doug alluded to it earlier. I see, and it's true in the video that sometimes they get to the point where they're actually quite rude, and that I think that's an attempt to provoke people.
Yeah, Mike, can we pause for one other second here? So one thing that might be helpful for folks to understand is that, especially in Massachusetts, the evolution of this is really only a little over 10 years old. It started with folks who probably had a more altruistic idea of what they were doing. So the original context for a lot of the cases that developed this First Amendment right to record public officials originally police interactions.
And guys, I hate to bring this up, but he's saying like originally when First Amendment audit videos first started coming out, they were more altruistic. Like, hate to fucking break it to you. I'm in that fucking second gen. Just so you guys can fucking take that in and, you know, regurgitate it at will. You know, the John Felixes, the Gavin Symes of the world, the James Freemans, first generation, okay? I'm second gen. Instead of just filming cops, I'm out there and saying, fuck you, pig, right? So it's still altruistic. I'm still doing this for a cause. But because Sandy Pooler at $250,000 can't not act like a retard on fucking camera, that doesn't take away from what I'm doing. That takes away on the fact that someone hiring people is a fucking moron. This has been brought to you by Leroy's penis that you just saw before he sat down in his boat.
My battery was dying. I had to plug my computer in.
So I think the first case in the First Circuit that really addressed this issue was a police case out of Boston where essentially someone got arrested for recording police officers doing their work. And, you know, again, it's easy to sit, you know, an armchair quarterback and look back at those sort of officers and say, you know, why would they, you know, arrest somebody for just recording them? But I think one of the things that this sort of audit experience sort of highlights is that when it happens, there's a natural instinct to sort of be defensive about what you're doing, even if you're not doing anything wrong or illicit or whatever. And so, you know, that's in some ways a good way to think about it is that a lot of the folks who do this work are coming at it with this history of thinking about even the average town employee in much the way they think about law enforcement officials, which is, you know, in many ways unfair to all of us and law enforcement officials because we have very specific jobs. And most of us don't think of ourselves in as performing duties in that manner. So, Mike, I hope I didn't go too far.
No, great points, Doug, and that's absolutely correct. These originally started usually with law enforcement, and I think if you click on the next two, Doug, so typically the second to last one talks about where I've seen these audits occur. You know, the last time that they just walk into town hall like they did last week here in Arlington, city halls, of course, police stations have been a target, you know, libraries, or just any municipal building, DPW, inspectional services. It really is, you know, the Jarvis House, who knows? You know, they can walk into any municipal building and really the same rules apply. So I'm glad that people from all departments are here, and because we should all be prepared. This is not just for people who work in town hall. And I did find a matter, Doug. You talked about police and somebody being detained. There was a matter in 2018 in Colorado.
Guys, I do want to say real quick, there's some people grilling me in the comment section. They're not to be deleted or removed at all. You know, you can remove someone if they're violating community guidelines, if they're using racist or homophobic speech, get rid of them. But if they're calling me a fucking asshole, then they can call me a fucking asshole. And I don't know who would ever hang out with Leroy Truth, but he's a fucking asshole. This gentleman, red tie on that boat slip, he looks like Agent 47 if he really needed to think about his life choices.
Well, you know, the Bible says for someone to hate you, they have to love you.
But seriously, I don't want anyone being removed from this chat. We are free speech. Unlike the police, unlike these town halls, we are free speech. I might disagree with what you have to say. I respect your right to fucking say it. So if I see mods removing people from saying Josh is a piece of shit or Josh is fat, we're not going to be doing any of that. So let's get back to this video, but I wanted to make it perfectly and abundantly clear. We have free speech here. Okay.
I haven't been called old yet, so I'm waiting.
We're not these fucking troll channels. If Shanduli wants to call me a fat piece of shit, that's his fucking First Amendment right to do it. I don't want to see anyone being removed for expression of free speech. We're not the assholes in this Zoom meeting.
Right. We respect the First Amendment.
Colorado Springs with the police. detained an individual under a disturbance of the peace charge, and they ended up paying $41,000 to settle that claim because well, in theory, they did that because they didn't feel like it was a good stop and a good arrest.
Josh, can you pause 1 second?
No,
I just want to
admission
comment
of
on
liability. The fact that they paid
that
41.
liability. The town of Arlington, if you look this up, they have a long history of doing things that get themselves sued. Like about 8 months ago, they were called to the only hotel in town for an individual that was a white male, and they happened to detain a black male that didn't match the description whatsoever at all. And he was coming from work and everything. It had nothing to do with it. They had a nice little lawsuit because of that. And I just thought that was funny that they're trying to say auditors are setting up a payday when their own employees are costing them money and not buying body cameras. But that's a different story.
$41,000 is not particularly helpful in terms of establishing that what they did was proper.
And if I can just pause for a second, because I think it's relevant to understand that just because somebody's not polite or even rude doesn't mean they're not on the right side of the law. It's hard to.
Guys, I'm going to skip forward a little bit, but this is an important part for you to read. Look on an improper. It can expose a municipality to serious liability. For example, the 2018 case cost the city $41,000 for wrongful detainment made by an auditor against 2 police officers. So look what they're talking about. It's not about you being educated on your First Amendment right. This video from Doug Heim, he's a fuck knuckle in the first degree, I think is fair. It's not about educating the city staff. Hey, we looked really stupid, and we need to have a healthy respect to the First Amendment because at the government level, at a city level, within the people's building, we need to represent and defend that First Amendment because we have a big plaque out front dedicated to said First Amendment. This is not what this whole training exercise is about. In lieu of the $230,000 wasted on fucking Sandy's salary, we spent how much money on this not to teach these fucking employees that they should be behaving and respecting people correctly, but to tell them an improper handling of an audit can expose a municipality to serious liability. It's not about protecting your fucking rights. It's about making sure they don't fucking get sued. This is the Arlington Town Hall. And by the way, guys, if you look at the Arlington Town Hall, the Robbins Memorial Library, they're down to 4.2. So obviously the review pages are working. I'm going to go show you a quick one. And I'm not going to be able to do like too much voiceover in this video because we got to get through it. But 4.2, the newest one is from Josh. And it's loading. There we go. Watched your audit training video, threw up, thought of it, and threw up again. So if you guys feel like addressing to the Robbins Memorial Town Hall, this is the town hall in Arlington, Massachusetts. Then, of course, such is your right. I would never ask you to do it, but you might ask yourself to do it. Let's breeze through this video.
Sometimes see it or accept it when someone is treating us poorly. But usually what happens in those contexts is there's an arrest that has to be based on probable cause. And, either it's trespass, and conceptually, you have to understand that the way a court would look at it is that a member of the public is trespassing in a public building is a difficult bar for us to get over unless, Mike's going to talk about this a little later, we make some clear delineations about what is space open to the public and what's not in our buildings. And the second piece of it is, again, when you're talking about obstruction of governmental administration or some charge like that, disorderly conduct, the bar for those things is pretty high in order to prove that kind of claim as a matter of criminal law. And we can all understand that if we're upset with someone in our local government or someone that we're interacting with, the law doesn't generally tell us that we have to behave in a super specific manner. And so what we would have to see in order for harassment or real obstruction of governmental administration is pretty outrageous conduct that actually threatens people in a way that most people would find put them in some sort of danger, or really was so long and abusive that it constituted harassment. Mike, should I, next slide?
Yeah. Being a jerk is not necessarily a crime. Are other First Amendment audits legally permissible? And again, this is a little bit of a disclaimer, typical lawyers, but yes, typically they are permissible depending on certain factors. But in Massachusetts, the public is permitted to record certain public officials in public places as they undertake official business. So if somebody walks into your office, and we'll talk about this, as Doug alluded to, in an area that's open to the public, not a private office area, and they've got their phone out and they're filming you, that is permitted, as long as they're not disturbing your ability to do your work or being an unnecessary disruption. If they're standing there just holding their phone filming you, that is permitted under Massachusetts law. That's the point there. If the auditors are recording in a public area of a public entity's building, such as the lobby of a public accessible portion of an office, they're typically permitted to be there, which is what we saw for most of what Arlington went through last week. There was an instance where they ended up in the town manager's suite in an area that is not open to the public, and that was a problem. I just wanted to note, however, the First Amendment is not absolute. The Supreme Court has recognized there are certain places known as forums in which the government can limit speech. The most protected areas are traditional public forums, such as streets, sidewalks, parks, and town squares, where governments may impose only very limited speech regulations. Other areas within public property are known as non-public forums, such as military bases, police and fire stations, public schools, courthouse lobbies and hallways, and the interior of government office buildings. In those, governments may impose significantly more restrictive regulations. If you're just a member of the public, you can't just walk into Arlington police station and go behind the desk and start wander around inside the police station. Even though it is a public building, there are areas of that building that the public is not permitted to go without a police escort or permission of the police. And that is permitted. Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, I think one of the things that Mike and I recognize is that there are a lot of spaces in Arlington that occupy a little bit of a gray area, right? So for one, there are spaces that we haven't necessarily, because of the kind of community and kind of government services we provide, we haven't traditionally thought, well, this is open to the public, this is closed to the public. Oftentimes it's been, well, this is open to the public within reason. And unfortunately, folks like this sort of make it necessitate us making some firmer choices in terms of where we're going to allow the public, and maybe firming up some of our practices in terms of the formality with which the public is invited in certain spaces. There's also some gray areas with respect to, when I think of the treasurer's office, or I think of the legal department, you might be standing in a space where you're allowed to be the foyer of Jarvis House, or the entryway to the treasurer's office. But if you're using a camera, you might be able to record information that's private to other people's, water bills, or any data that's open on a computer in the treasurer's office or in the legal department. There's confidential attorney-client privilege files. Mr. Cunningham handles workers' compensation. There might be medical records, and while those are usually secured, we have to be able to do our work. So if somebody wants to record from a public space, we also have the right to be thoughtful about, what is visible from that space, and take reasonable precautions and measures to try to make sure that we secure confidential information.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the preparation slide, and how we can best ready ourselves for audits. But this last
Guys, the important part I want to point out is coming up. And I just got an email, as I often do. And it says, just paraphrasing, I hope this email reaches the right person. I'm a big fan of Josh and Banana and Leroy, and I noticed on several occasions they were asked for a press pass. Josh always mentions that vets fought for our rights. I'm a Marine Vietnam vet, 2 years in country. And I think it would be awesome if he would hang a 3x5 laminated card from his neck, the visible side blank, and when asked for his press pass, turn it over and show a pic of the headstones at Arlington National Cemetery. The cemetery is a sprawling 624 acres and contains over 400,000 grave sites. They are the ones that gave Josh and Banana and all of us the right to be free and record. I got this email while this live stream was rolling, and I think that that's absolutely a phenomenal idea, because if they're going to shit on the face like fucking Sandy Pooler and Hillard and all the assholes over in Arlington, if they're going to shit on the sacrifice of those people, I want them to get a healthy view. In fact, if you have somebody in your family or someone you know or was a friend or a friend of a friend, whatever, send me a picture if they lost their life in defense of this fucking country. Okay. And I'm going to create a fucking slideshow. And the moment that anyone asks me who I am, if I have a press pass, or if I have the right to film, I'm going to start fucking playing that video. And I guarantee you by the time they get to the second face, they're going to be out of there. But don't worry. They talk about what to do if you need to leave the fucking room. These guys absolutely disgust me. This is the Arlington Town Hall. Let's continue watching.
Last piece of this particular slide I wanted to just highlight, because I think this is really an important takeaway. Municipal employees should treat auditors as they would any other member of the public. And I think that they have the right to go in and film in these areas that are open to the public. They have a right to film us. I know it's not comfortable. Many people don't like being filmed by somebody's cell phone, and that's understandable. But as public employees, as Doug mentioned, we have a diminished expectation of privacy, and what they're doing is permitted. The best course, and from what I've seen in the videos, the best way to handle it is the same way you'd handle anybody else who walks into your office for any particular request. If they don't make a request, you could just ask them, is there something I can help you with? And if they say no, which they typically do, at least at the start, then you say, okay, well, I'm here if you need something. And then go back to doing your work as you would if someone else of the general do here. But I think that people who didn't have notice last week that did an excellent job. Well, this is the preparation, and this is some of the things that Doug's already talked about. But one of the things that we want to do, and I think we're planning to do, at least my understanding, is to demarcate public and employee areas with signage. You can click on again, Doug. Gets a little explanation there. But it's important to note that if you as a municipal employee, if you bring a member of the public into an employees only area, you may have converted that area into a public space. If you do this with a different customer while a First Amendment auditor is present, you cannot bar the auditor from entering this previously private space as well. So I mean, there's a little bit of gray area here as well. I mean, if you have a specific meeting, so the town manager suite, for instance, they know there's a conference room on the interior portion of that office. If there's a resident who has a meeting and that resident's inviting him to go to the conference room, that's not the same as inviting a resident in who's then talking with general people inside the office. To the extent possible, we want to keep members of the public who don't have appointments outside of that area in the public area only, because we run the risk of converting the interior space into a public space, which then becomes subject to filming. I know that's not easy to do, but that's how we want to do it. And then this is the point that Doug just made, which is important. Review what is public facing in your office space. As Doug talked about, many of our offices are pretty open by design. They're meant to be interactive with the public. They're meant to be open to the public. We want to be public servants. We want to be customer service friendly. But if you want to click again, Doug. So there is, we want to make sure that we're not inadvertently exposing matters of personal privacy, documents subject to attorney-client privilege, or documents subject to the exemptions of the public records law. So, this could come up in many of these departments. There are materials that many of us handle every day that are not for public consumption. There are matters of personal privacy, not just in the law office here or even in the treasurer's office. There's other offices that have personal information. We just want to be aware of where those documents sit in the public facing office areas, so that they don't get caught on camera. That's something we can do to just try and protect that information.
In other words, do their jobs.
This was I don't know, this is a thought. You don't necessarily have to do this, but determine in advance who will provide service during a First Amendment audit. If you want to.
Like I said, I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of voiceover, but I mean, let's look at what this says. Remember, if you bring a member of the public into an employee-only area, you may have converted that area into a public space. If you do this with a different customer while a First Amendment auditor is present, you cannot bar the auditor from entering this previously private space as well. Remember this, guys. If you're fucking doing audits, remember this.
You want to click one more time, Doug? Yeah, some people are more comfortable dealing with these types of confrontational situations. You may have somebody in your office, kind of, if people understood maybe 15, 20 minutes into what was going on.
Understand that, that where a lot of people might be coming from is a point of, kind of like, who do you think you are coming in and trying to like make fun of me or make fun of, my colleagues and stuff like that. And so harass me. But at the end of the day, it's a TV show. It's a TV show that wants to create moments that somebody is gonna sort of click on and enjoy. And as Mike said before, I think that the town did a great job. And watching some of that audit, I saw the ways in which they tried to manufacture moments in that sort of interactions with certain employees. I think most people might have seen Town Manager Sandy. There's this whole absurd exchange about, telling him he dropped his pocket to try to like make him look silly because you can't drop a pocket. It didn't, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't.
That didn't make sense to you? The whole point is he makes $230,000. He should know that he can't drop a fucking pocket. Well, because you asked, let's make it make fucking sense to you, Doug Heim.
We want to restrict the public from the areas that they paid for. Or we're holding, secret society meetings and we're sacrificing land to please stay beyond the barricaded wall.
Any other feedback?
No, I just want to. Oh, but even though I wasn't a fan of you at first, I don't want you to lose anything. You dropped your pockets, Andy.
Yeah.
Sandy, you're running the town. Yeah. How much you get paid, Sandy? I get FOIA requested. I'd just rather not have to go through all that. I just want to know what you have to tell me. What does the town manager's position in Arlington usually pay? $225,000 almost. And you didn't realize that you couldn't drop your own pocket.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
So you're gonna run the city, but you couldn't mentally break down that I just told you, a grown man making $250,000 a year, solving the city's problems, that you weren't physically able to drop your own pocket.
You're making $250,000.
All right, Doug Heim, if you didn't understand why that made Sandy look like a fucking moron, we just wanted to help you out real quick. I know you're having problems doing your job over there in Arlington, but figure we'd give you a freebie.
I don't really understand the point, other than to try to make a moment that's going to be, a highlight for them to put on a Twitter feed or something like that. Town manager, explodes when he finds out he can't drop his pocket. Stuff like that.
Can you do me a favor, Mike?
Yep.
I love that fucking title. Town manager explodes when he realizes he can't drop his pocket. Will you and everyone at home please help me? We need to work together here at Mike595959 and Accountability for Leroy Truth Investigations for the people. So I would like everyone to take a clip, all right, a quick clip of Sandy falling for the whole drop your pocket, and then integrate a clip of him being the lawyer being like, oh, it's kind of silly, right? And I want you to title it, Town Manager Explodes When He Realizes He Can't Drop His Pocket. The exact title that guy just gave, I want everyone to fucking do that. Everybody.
He only makes $6,000 more than a police captain.
So Mike, this sort of number one rule is not easy. And I think for the most part, we did a fantastic job of that. But one of the things that I would also sort of recommend in this is try to do a little bit of a self-assessment. And if you're like me and you know you're going to be, you know, kind of argumentative in that moment, you want to try to take a breath and, you know, really think about, you know, if I need a minute, I might just say, hey, I need a minute. Let me get back to you in just a second. Or if I really don't feel like I'm equipped to do this, you know, it's okay. I don't want to seem like you're running away, but in that preparation part, if there's somebody else who you think would be better suited towards dealing with it, and that person is within reach, you know, it's okay to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, it's completely understandable to be argumentative or, you know, be defensive. I think one of the other points I want to say
Is that for real?
to follow up on Doug's idea
But
about
if
them
they were just doing
manufacturing-
their job and you were there as a regular public citizen, there would be no confrontation. If they said, hi, can I help you? And you say no, and they say, okay, let me know if I can be of any
So
assistance.
how does that even work?
But it would never happen.
I can
Why would they
completely
need help?
understand, and it's fine if you want to be argumentative. Why is that acceptable for a lawyer to be telling town officials, like, yeah, no, it's good. Be argumentative, be an asshole. Like, these guys are fucking dicks. Like, straight up, this is the town of Arlington. You should all be going to the Arlington Town Hall and not leaving a review because I said.
and whoever, Jim was not rude. I mean, it was just so they're trying to manufacture moments is a good way to put it, Doug.
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, we're getting some questions if in the queue, and we're going to address those in turns once we get to the questions. So as soon as we finish, I'll go ahead and read these questions in the order that they came in, and then we'll open it up for more questions.
There's not much more. I think there's only a couple more slides. Number 2, business as usual. So this gets back to our point of how we should try and strive to treat auditors the same way we treat any other person who walks in your office as a member of the public. You provide them the same level of service. Again, I know it's hard because there's a phone in your face, but that's the way to do it.
That's the smartest thing you said the whole video.
Remember, in a stressful moment that cities and towns are customer service agencies. If they ask your name, answer politely. Try to avoid immediately getting your department head. This is the type of footage they want. They love that part. Number 3, be mindful of the needs of other customers. I think this is important. This didn't really come up.
Mike, before you go on to this, I just wanted to add something to number 2. And I guess it interplays a little. We don't lie. You can say, let me check with our records access officer if you're concerned about something. They see it as a boon if a police officer shows up on the scene. That's what they want more than anything else, because that is an escalation of the situation, and it is an implication that the government is trying to use its authority to tell the people where they can be and where they can't. But if you don't feel safe, the first thing that I would do is grab a colleague or.
And there you have it, folks. The rest of the video, you can go to my community page, and the rest of it will be there. But that is what it is. It's not a boon that a cop shows up. At the end of the day, if you collect a paycheck, on the bottom it says, signed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts or paid by the federal government, you fucking work for us. You will continue to work for us. And even if you're fuckknuckles like John Hillard of the Boston Boston Globe, you know, you're subject to people looking at you and saying that you're an asshole. Now, you can try and beat me to the chase, but you'll never win that fucking race. I've already beat me to the chase at being a fucking asshole. I admit to being a fucking asshole, and I do what I do because I'm great at being an asshole. The folks like the Sandy Poolers of the world, you know, we got some new reviews at a 4.1. I feel like it should be lower.
But Josh, in all honesty, it's counterproductive to your big agenda to be monetizing this crap that they're trying to act like you're only doing this for money. Aren't you physically and mentally more satisfied when you actually get to a town hall or a forum where they treat you respectfully and it's like the way it's supposed to go and you feel welcome and they don't treat you like you're there as an enemy? I mean, don't you actually physically feel better? I mean, you know you're not going to get as many views if you can't say lady goes nuts and threatens to shoot me, and her husband comes. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a better feeling to know that hey, these people get it. They know that how to act and how to treat people.
Well, you know what? For those people out there like John Hillards of the Boston Globe and all the people that say that we're out there doing what we do to get reactions, that's not the case. And I want you to present any evidence that you have that it is the case. And then I will say to you, if our only skew of this is to make people look bad and to get you to act crazy and to try and provocate you, then this would not exist.
Yeah, that's easy. You can do that easy.
This video here would not exist if that was my goal. It wouldn't be possible.
I forget. I'm trying to remember.
I can't believe how bad you are at tic-tac-toe.
Oh my God, right?
Oh. What's happening? Ooh.
No, I won.
No, you didn't win. She won. Watch.
Oh, no. Oh,
She wins.
Oh!
I told you she won.
That freaked me out.
She didn't realize she won until the moment that I said.
I'm Ryan Farrar. I'm the town administrator.
Oh, nice to meet you, Ryan.
Nice to meet you.
You heard we were in the area, huh? There was an email that went
They
out.
did have the heads up, though.
Who ratted
It
us
was so
out,
nice.
Pepperell or Lunenburg?
I don't know. It came across. So.
See?
So
Nice to meet you. Whoa, geez, you scared me. What are you are like the best. Were you like an awesome hide and go seek player as a kid? Cheated by the government. You see that? Thought I won because there was 2 circles left and I was in circles. Then she flips over the circles and there's an X. I felt like it was that movie 21 and she was counting cubes. See, so
They had a heads up, but they still seem legitimately like real decent people. They didn't seem like they were going to be frightened by you with a camera. They seem legitimate. Not like the guy with the tongue, Paul Revere running through, telling everyone you were there. They seem legit to me.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. I'm not out to get interactions. I am not out to trigger people. Because if that was the case, that video you just watched would not exist. Because what I would do...
Why post it?
I would find those really nice people, and instead of playing tic-tac-toe, I'd be like, you're a bitch. And I get them to act all fucking crazy. But I don't do that. I show my camera, and they decide how they act. Those folks at the Littleton Town Hall in Littleton, Mass. Decided they wanted to be the epitome of professionalism, and that's how they appeared. It's a fucking shame that video only got 15,000 views, and it didn't get more views because I wasn't screaming at them and they weren't screaming at me. But the point of us doing what we're doing is to create some sort of bridge, some sort of gap that can be divided, so we can say, I understand you're the government and I might have some distrust for you, and you understand that I'm an activist and I'm always right. But we need to figure out how to fucking bridge these gaps. And we're never going to do it while the Sandy Poolers of the world are getting $230,000. Listen, I don't care if you lick the very, you know what? I wasn't going to show this. Hold on. I was not going to show this, but I did a video today. Hold on. I want to show you the intro. And then I got to end this. Hold on. Here we go. All right. Yes. Yes. Okay, perfect. Hold on.
Can I ask what you're doing?
Sorry?
Can I ask what you're doing?
Yeah. Taking some pictures.
What? Can I ask you what?
Sorry?
Can I ask you what you're taking the pictures for?
I don't want to disclose that information.
Give the what?
I'm gonna get the police call. Or you take
Oh, you don't want me in here?
Immediately get the
Take
police.
pictures?
Wow.
Hmm. Am I breaking the law?
Why are you taking pictures of us? So I'm
Am I,
asking you a quick-
well, I'm asking you a question. Am I breaking the law?
Yeah, get the police.
Yeah, get the police. He's taking pictures. I don't know if he's
I think
breaking
it's
the law.
because he tied his tie too long.
It's kind of like a cop. If a cop walked up to you, Henry, and they were like, listen, you didn't do anything wrong, but I want to do a quick search. I want to know who you are. I want to get your ID. Would you give them, if you didn't do anything wrong, would you give up your ID and just let them search you?
If it's a police officer, it's different.
No, it's not.
No, there's still,
You're giving up your
no.
rights.
You don't give
You're
your,
giving up your rights. Yeah, but,
But
you
so
didn't do
because-
anything wrong.
because it's a police officer, you should waive your First Amendment right, your Fourth Amendment right, your Fifth Amendment right, just because they're a police officer?
No, you shouldn't. I mean, if you hadn't done anything wrong, there should be absolutely no reason
That's-
why you have to identify.
That's
as
why
an
the
absolute
stigma
law.
exists, Henry, is because a cop could pretty much, I'm thinking, of course, not physically harm you, put their, like, punch you or tase you, but a police officer could probably ask almost anything of you and you would comply just because it's a cop and for no other reason. Am I right?
Probably.
Probably.
And that's the problem, folks. That is the prime example. That is a government employee, when I did nothing wrong, called the police. He called armed men with guns to come take me away and have me removed. And I said to him, listen, if you did nothing fucking wrong and the police came and started assaulting you and violating your rights, they could ask you, and would you let them do it? And he said, yeah, probably. That is a problem because that guy is in a supervisory capacity. That is the next fucking Sandy Pooler of the world.
That's
And that's
the majority of the public, though. Unfortunately, that's what the problem is. People believe that police are higher than us and that they have authority over us when they don't. And it's unfortunate that no one understands this. It's a big problem.
Well, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you go to. It's spelled kind of funky, so I'm gonna. Need my moderators.
It's an old. It's just Mike5959, but Xbox and PlayStation. I didn't have my old email address, so I just used the 3.
But this is the link. Take a screenshot of it. MIK35959 at MIK35959. Oh, and the dogs are barking. That means the Nana's home. Anyways, guys, make sure you subscribe to him. Tell him that AFA sent you. I got to shut this down. If you'd like to, you can go to my community page and you can see the video in its entirety of this dumb town meeting and see just how bad it is. If you haven't, make sure you go to Leroy Truth Investigations and also Banana Rana was with me on that Arlington audit. And you better make sure you subscribe to Mike because he can go live. And when he and I meet up to go do an audit, which we will be doing very shortly.
Oh, we're gonna go to the library.
Near future.
The library believes we can't go there, and that we got to do it.
I am not up to a challenge of being told I can't film. I sit down and I back down. Guess we're going to the library. Guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Subscribe to Mike, subscribe to Leroy, subscribe to Banana Arena. All the members, thank you so much. We'll read out the super chats real quick before I go because those are important. They keep us going. Diego says, you're acting suspicious. That's not normal. Well, I don't consider a cop screwing a pencil sharpener normal, but I mind my own business. Firm Audits becomes an AFA YouTube member. Scalzo Photo. The low-quality author John Hillard tried to say making money from ads is a problem, but most media outlets makes money from ads, including John Hillard's article in the Boston Globe. Hypocrite. He sure is, and also a huge pussy. I can't believe you said that, Mike. You can't say pussy in a live stream.
I apologize.
John Hillard's a pussy. Stop it, Mike.
Good John.
Josh swear like the cop who didn't see the kid. Toe Cutter for $5 says Leroy is Agent 47. People should thank him for only pointing a camera at them. Scalzo Photo for another $10. I would like to do a mental health check. How are you? And Leroy handling the camera in front of you and comments coming at you. Take deep breaths and stay calm. Don't freak out. Emma N sends a $4.99 super chat. Scalzo Photo again says, the concept of a 1A audit is, as an everyday citizen using their press rights around government. Corporations don't have more rights than an individual. You got that one right. Scalzo Photo also for $5 says, wouldn't film outside of a bar of drunk people get more outrageous videos? City Hall is full of the most boring people. Unknown JD Esquire sends a $20 super sticker. Scalzo photo again. Thank you so much. Says, lawyer said water bills are private. Actually, you can look up any address and see what people's water bill is and property taxes and other info. That's
Well,
all.
he also said that when he brings people into an office, they made sure to mention that an auditor doesn't have an auditor's uniform. If someone's there to be a identity thief, they're not wearing identity thief uniforms. So if they're in the same office, they should treat all sensitive information the same, regardless of who's in the office. It's like they don't think about that though. They act like it's.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Thripple. Major the Polar Bear. That was him. I'm getting my I Am an Auditor t-shirt, and I'm going to be peacefully protesting the Arlington Town Hall. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We will catch you on the next one. And don't forget, that's the reason I stopped you today.